Well, first of all, this is Coca-Cola's brand, always has been. Remember the 1971 ad, "I'd like to teach the world to sing," with people from all around the world holding hands? At least some of us of a certain age do. Coca-Cola has always been about inclusion, and they clearly know how to get people talking about their brand. But the fact that people are outraged over this ad is outrageous itself. People indignant that others would have the audacity to sing America the Beautiful in a language other than English when America was built on opening its arms to the world. The quote on the Statue of Liberty doesn't say, "Give me your English-speaking only Christian-believing heterosexual masses." It says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, tempest-tossed."
From interviewing presidents to icons and celebrities, Brenda Wood's 40-year career in journalism has been nothing short of extraordinary. She has not only hosted and produced primetime specials, but also won an impressive 20 Emmy Awards for her outstanding work. In 2017, the veteran news anchor retired after 40 years in journalism. Today, I have the privilege of sitting down with my good friend Brenda Wood, who is also a second homeowner here at Lake Oconee, and delve into the ever-changing landscape of the news media and to check in how life has been after her retirement from the limelight. Brenda, thanks for being here, and it's wonderful to see you.
It's great to see you.
Retirement looks great on you.
It feels great.
Oh, I bet, because you look wonderful, but you always look great.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. So, my first question, you have a stellar career of 40 years in journalism. In recent years, how has the news media evolved and changed?
Oh, my goodness. A lot. Just social media has upended everything. It is a total game changer. It used to be, back in the day, appointment TV, where people, made the appointment to sit down and watch the evening news, either before or after dinner at 6 o'clock, or at 10 or 11, depending on what part of the country you lived in, Central or Eastern Standard Time. And that's when people got their news, broadcast news. Of course, you can get it from the newspaper, but that's been changed too. You can get the morning newspaper or the evening newspaper. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know we don't have to do that anymore. News is 24/7, always. It has always been. But our access to it is now 24/7. We can get news as it's happening in real time, in our hands, wherever we are. It's called a cell phone. It is not anything like it was back in the day.
How do you see the balance between delivering breaking news and ensuring the accuracy and context?
Good question. It's an important question. Breaking news, by its very nature, is sometimes not accurate. Whether you are a seasoned reporter or whether you're just, a bystander with a cell phone, it's not always accurate because things are unfolding and the information that you're getting, either just by watching or by word of mouth, usually is in flux. What you see is not always what is actually occurring. There are other factors at play. And so, breaking news, especially if you are recounting what's in front of you, you only know what's in front of you. So a seasoned reporter will put it in context, will say, this is breaking news, we will learn more as developments occur. Somebody who's just holding a cell phone will say, this is fact, this is actually what happened.
Right.
And that's not always the case. So, we have to understand that, as more and more facts are unveiled, we learn more. So it's not always accurate, whether you're seasoned or not. It's not always accurate at the very beginning.
You have covered countless significant events and interviewed notables, presidents, icons, celebrities. Is there a particular significant event or interview that you've done that stand out in your mind?
Well, gosh, I've had so many wonderful opportunities and reporting assignments that I'm so grateful for and are so unforgettable. So the first inauguration of President Obama, I got to cover actually both of them. The first one, though, was, the most significant because the first African-American president
Of course.
in our lifetime and in this country. So that was absolutely amazing. I wish I had had the opportunity to interview him then, but that was not in the cards. But nonetheless, I was there.
Right.
And it was just amazing to see the sea of people and to feel the energy in that environment. It was unbelievable. Had the opportunity to cover the Beijing Olympics for the entire span of 2 weeks, and that was incredible.
And that was very interesting, I bet.
It was fascinating. Got to interview several of the Georgia athletes, the gold medal winners.
Was that the very first Olympic event in Beijing?
I believe so.
Maybe in recent years.
Yes, in recent years for sure. And Georgia certainly was well represented. Also, of course, covered the bombing here at Centennial Olympic Park when Atlanta hosted the Olympics as well, which was a devastating, very frightening event as well. But even with that, it was amazing to watch Atlanta bounce back from that, and the fortitude and the resilience that this city displayed to the world was amazing. I want to say, though, and of course I have had multiple opportunities to interview President Carter, who is just, well, everybody knows, is
Right.
an incredible human being. And has always been so gracious to me, and covered him in multiple circumstances, but not the least of which him building Habitat for Humanity.
For humanity.
He and his wife Rosalind, both just incredible human beings. I think, though, what is an unexpected and probably the most outstanding for me is the opportunity to interview Mrs. Anwar Sadat, former First Lady of Egypt. We got to interview her in Memphis, but then was invited to join her in Egypt, and got a chance to interview her again in her presidential palace under the oil painting of her husband.
How was that experience?
It was unbelievable. She invited me and my photographer to a luncheon with her family at the home of one of the cabinet members, actually, who was injured during the assassination of her husband. And we were in the backyard and watching her family enjoy the picnic with other family members and friends, as the host displayed his white Arabian horses with the pyramids in the background.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my gosh.
Am I dreaming?
Am I dreaming? I need to pinch myself right now. This is the same little girl who grew up, in Northwest Washington, D.C., and, not a very fancy place. And here I am sitting in the foothills of the pyramids, watching white Arabian horses with the former First Lady of Egypt at her invitation.
Incredible.
I will never, ever forget that scene. It was absolutely, yes, breathtaking.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Reflecting on your career, Brenda, how did the role of diversity and inclusion changed in the newsroom while you were still there? And what do you think needs to improve in terms of inclusivity in news media?
So when I was hired 40 years ago, you can do the math.
40 great years.
40 great years. I was hired straight out of college. I was hired right after a new law was put into place that required employers to hire more minorities. I accounted for 2, black and female. So they got 1 for the price of 2,
Right.
or 2 for the price of 1, and so be it. It would have been better if they'd hired 2, but they didn't. They went the shortcut. And that's probably happened more times than it should have or needed to. So over time, we have diversified newsrooms, but not enough. So in the South, there are more blacks than there had been back in the 70s or even the 80s, but there are not enough Asians or Latinos or South Pacificans or others. Not enough. And there certainly are not enough in management. So you see diversity perhaps a little bit on camera, but those are not the people ultimately making the decisions about how that news operation makes its decisions and the choices of news and how news is presented. People who are making decisions about the overall television station, its management, its hiring practices across the board, how it advertises, how it purchases advertising, all of those big business decisions. Who's making those decisions? It's not a very diversified group.
Right.
So we have a long ways to go. And a lot of people are not aware of that because we give news all the time about diversity
Yes,
and inclusion.
that's right.
That's the news.
Right.
But behind the scenes, we ourselves are not necessarily practicing what we give news about.
What advice would you give to aspiring journalists who want to get into the ever-evolving news media?
Hopefully you love to write, because that is
A big part of it.
That's the core of it.
Right.
And I say that because I really believe that social media has generated a generation of young people who aspire to be on the news for the celebrity of it and not for the journalism of it. Journalism really is about writing and documenting history, basically, as it is happening. It's telling stories, communicating ideas, communicating events, pulling the curtain back on our elected officials and holding our elected officials accountable. It's what's happening in our community and holding our community leaders accountable. This is journalism. This is not about celebrity. And so if you really have to ask yourself, what is it you want out of it? And if it's not about telling stories and communicating ideas and holding people accountable and then writing well, then you need to look elsewhere.
Looking forward, what do you believe will be the most challenging opportunities for the media industry?
I think we are right now in our most challenging time. Our country is so divided. Our democracy is so in jeopardy. The way we do politics and the way we elect our officials and the way we campaign and the way we support campaigns, all of that is under attack. And the news media, journalism is considered the fifth estate. As I said, it documents all of this. It reports on it. It is supposed to bring clarity to it, give people understanding, and give enough understanding so that people can make decisions about all of the above. And because of the dynamics that are unfolding before us, we don't know what to do. Our old ways of doing things, our traditional, tried and true ways of covering the news, being fair, telling this side and this side, isn't working. There's so much blurring of the lines, false facts, alternative facts. What the heck is that? That is not traditional journalism. That's another animal. but it's out there and it has a following, and there are multiples of that. So what do you do with that? That's part of the landscape, and it has affected our entire society. So the old way of doing news has to be rethought. I don't know what the answer is, and it's very frightening because the Fifth Estate is really essential to our democracy. Without it, we don't have a democracy. We have something else. If people don't know what's going on, if they are left blind, if they are fed what authorities want them to know, that's not democracy. Democracy relies on freedom of speech, the right to know the truth, not facts and alternative facts. What is that? A fact is a fact is a fact. We're in a challenging, scary place. And by we, I mean journalism, journalists, the news, the Fifth Estate, all of that is in a very vulnerable position right now.
Your most viral last word commentary was in 2014 after the Super Bowl about the Coca-Cola slogan. Tell us a little bit about that.
I remember reading the comments the next day after the Coca-Cola commercial when I got to work, and I started reading people's reactions to the commercial, and I was just
I'd like to teach the world to sing.
Right? But it was done, in all the different languages.
Different languages, right.
And how can you not, I don't know, how could that be offensive to anybody? But people were just, just outraged. Not everybody, but some people were outraged about it. And I thought,
that America the Beautiful was sang in different languages. Right.
And so in the makeup room, there was conversation about it. And I can't remember who it was, but someone in the makeup room said something about the author of America the Beautiful being written by a woman who was gay. And I said, get out of here. Really? I said, let me check that. So I went and did some research. Sure enough.
It's true.
Got my last word. I think I'll write about that. And I just banged it out real quick on the computer, and thought I would say that I was indignant for our country and for the creative people who put that together.
It was great. The next day you were on CNN, and every news outlet just picked it up. And
it was crazy.
Right.
And I heard from people all over the world, in my email box. It was crazy. Yeah. Crazy, great moment.
It was a great moment. So now that you're retired and you are a second home owner here at Lake Oconee,
yeah.
Do you have any last word commentary for our audience, particularly about retirement and living here at the lake? Part-time.
Yes. Well, retirement is wonderful. I miss some of the people that I got a chance to work with. Just incredibly talented, creative people, generous at heart, hardworking. Just loved a lot of my colleagues, and so I miss seeing them every day. But I do not miss the stress, the constant deadlines, the craziness, the crazy hours. Don't miss that at all. I love the beauty of being able to design my own schedule, go where I want, when I want, sleep as long as I want, wake up when I want. It's lovely. And as you know, I love the lake. I love Lake Oconee. I have been in love with it for a long time. It is one of my favorite places on earth. So,
Well, thank you, Brenda, again for, it's a pleasure to talk to you and always a pleasure to see you. And I appreciate you being here with us today.
oh, well,
And,
thank you for having me.
I look forward to seeing more of you here at the lake. And I know that you are staying busy, but hope you visit us more often.
I need to, absolutely. I'm very honored. You know, you're one of the greats. You and Ted are incredible people, and you've done so very much for this community to keep it alive, to keep it growing. You all, I'm really honored to know you guys, and that's from the heart.